Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Home Depot off of Custer Road in McKinney, Texas. As always, plant foldies, please make sure you're hitting that like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram. Follow me at Growfolds. I love to connect with you guys, and you already know if you like all of these 1-hour plant shopping videos daily, please make sure you are subscribing to my channel with all of the notification bell on. Again, for my viewers, plant foldies, I call those my viewers and subscribers. This is just another installment where I am doing a late afternoon run to Home Depot to see if they have any plants available to purchase. You know, this is the summertime, and what I'm noticing about big box stores, especially at Walmart at least, I've noticed that they've downsized the amount of plants that they have in the indoor section. So we're going to check and see if Home Depot is in the same situation. You can see they still have quite a bit of plants. They've got a bunch of citrus plants here. Now with citrus plants like lemon trees and whatnot, those are plants that I know, at least in my grow zone 8B, which is North Dallas, won't be able to grow in the landscape. You would need to grow them in containers. So it's really important, again, for those that are watching, to make sure that if you're going to grow plants in your landscape, to know your grow zone. I do see that this Home Depot still has quite a bit of cacti and succulents. I love the look of these cactus. You know, this one right here, for instance, is a torch cactus. Really interesting looking cactus. Now, I will say with any of the cactus or succulent, this one is for $26.98, the San Pedro cactus. You just want to make sure that you are giving them just full sun. It is one of those cactus that you want to make sure that get an ample amount of light. You know, when it comes down to certain plants, it really does boil down to the amount of light they receive in order for them to really thrive. And you can see here, this is another one for $26.98. We've got another interesting looking cactus right over here. In my personal collection, I don't really have a lot of cactus or succulents. I actually have about 4 to count, and those are succulents that are mostly pink, just because I like pink plants. And you know, succulents are a good variety of plants that you can get those colors. Now over here we have a crown of thorns, which is another blooming type succulent plant. It does have quite a bit of thorns. This one is in many different types of varieties. This one is a pink variety. They also require full sun. So again, for those that have been tuning into my big box stores, I really appreciate the engagement you guys have given me. I try to give you guys daily plant shopping video content. I recently showed you guys some of my plant tourism, where I went and took a vacation to the Philippines for about 2 weeks and showcased some of the plants that you see at these big box stores in their native environment. But you can see here, for instance, this is a super prickly cactus. This one is a golden barrel cactus. I see this one, it's quite common, but you can see here it is also for $26.98. This is also sourced out by Smart Plants. So that's another nursery that sources out a lot of succulents and cactus. It's really interesting that, you know, the big box stores that I typically go to, which would be Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot, they have their places that source the plants to them. Costa Farms typically sources out to Walmart and Lowe's. I haven't seen as many Costa Farm plants though at Home Depot, which is quite interesting. You'll see more of like the Vigoro nursery, but over here we've got some agave. We also have some fire sticks. So what I like about fire sticks is you can see that it has really bright yellow tones to its new growth. This is another type of succulent plant that does require full sun in order for it to really thrive. I have done a little bit of research when it comes to some of the plants, especially with succulents, but I'm not versed enough to really give you guys like plant care tips. So again, if you are a plant foldie that grows cactus or succulents, please make sure you guys are leaving plant care tips and comments in the comment section. I love the plant engagement. I've seen a lot of people leaving multiple comments for me to respond to. So as you watch this during a live premiere chat, or even if you're just watching this by clicking onto my video, I love getting that engagement from you. But you can see here there were some decent plants. You know, typically there would be more plants even on the outside section of the outdoor garden section. So we're just going to walk in and see what plants they have at this Home Depot. I frequent this Home Depot. This is a Home Depot that I've gotten several of my plants throughout the growing season. And so it's just interesting how big box stores, as far as like our house plants and especially our outdoor gardening plants, have started to transition. Some of them have downsized. So it is my I guess my mission to really find some big box stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to see if we have any more plants or if we've downsized on the plants. But this is one of my favorite Home Depots to visit. So we're going to walk over here. And a couple of things I did want to announce is for those that have been following my channel for the last couple of months, I am going to be going to PlantCon 2024. It's on August 31st, September 1st in Dallas. I will have some Grow Folds t-shirts. So on my Instagram, I've shown you guys some of my Grow Folds t-shirts. I haven't had a set price yet, but if you're interested, please leave a comment in the comment section, as well as sending me a direct message on my Instagram. I'm super excited. I have about 40 shirts that will get to me on August 12th. So I would love to have your support. I think it'd be really amazing. And I will also be designing more shirts for you guys. But as you can see, walking into the outdoor section, we are greeted with the Vigoro hanging basket fixture. I also like to go shop or do filming when it's late afternoon, early morning, or late evening, just because there's not as many customers or people shopping around, which makes it easy for me to just film wide shots to really show all the plants. You can see here though, for $19.98 is a hanging basket by Vigoro of Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen Pothos. I have started to really get into pothos again, and the reason being is, number one, pothos are easy to care for plants. Number two, they're readily accessible. And then number three, they have so many different varieties. And number four, I love plant propagation, and you can take so many cuttings and actually propagate them very easily. Another plant that's easy to care for is a Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. This one is also for $19.98. And what I like about this particular plant is it's also readily available. It's an easy to care for plant. It's budget friendly, and the variegation or coloration is really actually influenced by the amount of light it's given. I also have a bunch of Monstera adansonii right over here. This is also for $19.98. With Monstera adansonii, you can grow it as a trailing hanging basket, but truthfully, this plant wants to grow up a pole, a moss pole, because in its natural environment, it actually attaches itself to trees. The leaves will actually get larger in size, and that's really the more natural habit of the Monstera adansonii. So plant foldies, as we are doing our plant video shopping, I want to give you guys more of the native or natural growth patterns of some of these plants. That's how you will maximize actually on the beauty of the plant, is by letting it grow the way it's supposed to grow in nature. So Epipremnum aureum or pothos plants in the Philippines, they had massive leaves that also fenestrated. And what I mean by fenestrating is when the leaves start to split, you get holes in it. That's just to allow more light to shine through the lower branches and the lower leaves. So that's the reason why it wants to climb up a tree. But as you can see here, this is another beautiful Monstera adansonii. There are several nodes that you can possibly cut to root them in water. So I really like that as well. I do like the fact that Monstera adansonii has an easy way to be able to propagate these plants. You can see right here, they've got several nodes. So like here's one where you can take a cutting there, and then you can take another cutting here. So you'll have two new rooted cuttings that you can possibly do in water. Water propagation is very easy for Monstera adansonii. What I like to do with plants that trail like that is I like to take several cuttings, root them in water, and either plant them into the mother plant or create a new plant. Here is another easy to care for plant as well. This is an Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen Pothos. Love a neon not Neon Queen Pothos. This is just Neon Pothos. So Neon Pothos, the thing about the colors of the Neon Pothos is you really want to get it a lot of bright light. If it doesn't get nearly as much light, it'll become more of a green color versus that neon yellow, neon green color. So the more bright light you give it, the better coloration it'll have. You'll notice that some of the plant over on this Pothos, for instance, is a little bit more green, but the leaves or the area that gets more light will be more of that neon color. It is one of my favorite pothos. It's a pretty vigorous pothos plant as well. It grows pretty fast, and again, you can take a lot of cuttings when it comes down to it to propagate the plant. Vigoro baskets are really nice because I do think that for $19.99 for $19.98. It's actually a really cost-effective plant. This one is another Hoya carnosa. This could be a Hoya carnosa, maybe Crimson Princess. Now, the thing I like about Hoya plants is that they're a very forgiving plant. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, plant foldies, but when it comes to Hoya plants, they're very much drought tolerant. So I literally didn't water a Pothos plant, not a Pothos plant, a Hoya plant, sorry, for like a month, and the leaves did start to kind of shrivel up, but after watering it, it just inflated itself and it was back to normal. So for folks like me who don't water nearly as consistently as maybe some other people, Hoyas are actually a plant that will be best for me because I don't really water as much. And you can see here beautiful variegation on a Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess for $19.98. I have yet to see my Hoyas bloom, but I've seen Hoyas in the past blooming and they have such a fragrant smell about them, and they're just really diverse in the types of blooms that they have. Like you can see here, this is another Hoya carnosa that's just mostly green. I will see what that looks like, and then we'll see what that looks like as well in terms of just what blooms come out of that. This one is also for $19.98. Super excited to show you Hoyas. I know a lot of my plant foldies are interested in Hoyas. A lot of big box stores typically don't have Hoyas available. They'll only have the Hoya carnosa. One plant that they will always have though is a jade pothos, or the common green original pothos plant, Epiprimnum aureum jade. This one is for $19.98, and this is the fastest growing pothos plant. I know that people will look at pothos plants as a very common plant, basic plant, but really I think every plant collector, whether you're growing really expensive rare variegated monsteras or aroids, should still have a pothos plant. I think this is what we really need in our plant collections. When I came back from the Philippines, one thing I realized is a lot of plants, we work a lot to keep them alive in our indoor spaces, but really a lot of plant care should really be more reliant on the natural environment. And that's the thing, I've actually had to downsize a lot of my plants because some of my plants, it's just too much effort to keep them alive. So I've ended up either composting them or just parting ways with them. So we'll see what that looks like. I know that as far as like the stresses of keeping up with plant care has really decreased for me. And for me to be able to do daily plant content, this does take quite a bit of time to show you all of these beautiful plants. I have to at least film for about an hour. It takes a good 4 hours to really edit, put the plant IDs, the voice over the music, and then saving it and uploading it to YouTube. So now that I've been able to downsize some of my plants, I have to do less plant care, and I can really focus my energy into the plant shopping videos or my YouTube content. I am super excited, Plant Foldies, to be meeting up with you guys at PlantCon. I hope you guys will also like to wear my t-shirt during PlantCon. That is one way to identify me. Since I will remain faceless on YouTube, I've just decided that that's probably the best for me. I may eventually do a face reveal, but my face reveal will be when I meet up with you Plant Foldies in person. So if you haven't already, please make sure you are buying your PlantCon tickets. Super exciting. You will see some really cool plants. I promise, for those that are not able to make it to my to PlantCon, I will have literally hours and hours of videos filmed. I will have my iPad to really have some more extra storage. That way I'll be able to film even more. That's the thing about me filming plants. I run out of storage because I use my iPhone to be able to film, and I just run out of it. But throughout my rambling of just, updates of my life, you can see that Proven Winners has many plants. They've got some hydroponic plants for $19.98. And then they have these leaf joy plants. That is one thing I will say. Proven Winners really sources out a lot of their indoor tropical plants to Home Depot. I have never seen them really source out to Lowe's or Walmart. So just really interesting how certain big box stores really acquire their plants. You can see right here, this is an Alocasia longiloba. I've had this Alocasia. It hasn't done well for me. And that's the thing about Alocasias. A lot of them don't do well for us indoors because they are either spider mite prone, we don't give them enough humidity. But I do feel like, especially Alocasia, they are really meant to grow outdoors. Number one, I've noticed that when I do pull my Alocasia to grow outdoors, outdoors, they do a lot better versus having to really have humidifiers or even making sure we're spraying them with neem oil to prevent the spider mites. Now this is another philodendron I do like that's easy, and this is a philodendron rojo Congo, another easy to care for plant. It does get massive. It is more of a clumping type of philodendron versus one that really wants to climb up a pole. So that's really interesting. And then we also have a Ficus elastica ruby here. Now with Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants, they do require a lot of light. In the Philippines, they can actually grow into full-blown trees up to 20 to 30 feet tall. And for those that are new to my channel, I always reference the Philippines because my family is originally from the Philippines. I recently took a trip there and I saw all of these plants I'm picking up in their native habitats, and they got massive. They were extremely beautiful, and that's really conducive to the tropical environment that they live. Over here we do have a rainbow elephant bush. This is for $12.98 by Smart Plants again. A really nice variegated type succulent plant. It reminds me of a variegated jade plant, and this one is another common plant that you will find at mostly at big box stores. I know Walmart has carried a rainbow elephant bush as well, and you know, Smart Plants will source out to Walmart. And then over here is a fishbone cactus for $12.98. So this is another type of succulent plant. It's really interesting, the shape of the actual cactus. In general, I think that succulents have a really unique way of getting some of their foliage to be a unique shape. You can see right here, this is a string of bananas. I don't really have a lot of string of anything. The only strings I have are string of variegated hearts. And that was, you know, another plant that I would say maybe 2 to 3 years ago was a really popular plant. It was like the it plant. I will say that it's become a little bit more common. Some people, you know, carry a lot of the string of some things, but for me, I think just a string of hearts variegated is just going to be one plant. I do struggle to grow succulents in my plant collection, and I think it's because I haven't really mastered the lighting conditions. You know, I would just assume like maybe even this peperomia, for instance. I think this is a variegated peperomia cupid for $12.98. Would like, my first assumption is since it's a succulent, it could go out in full sun, but I was later educated by some awesome plant foldies stating that, you know, not all succulents can be put into full sun. They do just require a lot of light, but some of them are not meant to go into full sun. With Texas summers, we have some extremely hot weather, 100+ degree weather. It has been more of a mild summer, so I'm thankful for that, but some of my succulents just didn't really do well. Actually, talking to a seller who was selling some rare succulents, she even says that she's based in Houston, right? She says that she takes her succulents indoors during the summer because it's a little too hot for them. So what I would say about any plant that you buy at a big box store, a local nursery, or just acquire from somebody is make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're thinking about your grow zones, your lighting conditions in your home, the amount of time you can actually invest into the plant and just its growth habit. I think there will be more success when it comes down to it for your plant care. Now over here is a string of watermelons. Now I've never seen this before, and it's really cool because when you look at the actual plant, it does look like little miniature watermelons, and I just think that's really cool. There's just so many different types of strings, but I've never seen a string of watermelons. You can see that there are several hanging baskets of Vigoro plants, which I think is super cool. You can see right over here is another string of watermelon. Now plant foldies, what I do enjoy about these plant shopping videos, and I know that there are a lot of just big box store, my format is the same. I just like being able to talk about plants, talk about my insights, give you guys my care tips, my tips in general. And so for those that have continued to just engage with me and enjoy my content of me just pretty much talking your ear off for about an hour and a half daily, I really appreciate it. We are close to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 100 subscribers away to reaching 10,000 subscribers. So for those that have hit the like button on this video, which is super easy, you just hit the like button. For those that have left many comments, insightful comments in the comment section, those are ways to really have the YouTube algorithm push the videos. I also will say the #1 way to help the video get pushed to more people is literally watching the entire video through. So if you click on my video and you don't have time to watch it all the way through, I would say save it for another time. That way you get the full experience. Watch time is super important, and I just like retaining your watch time. So if there's any other plant content you'd like to see in the future, please make sure you're leaving that in the comments as well. I am open to feedback. But as you can see here, Home Depot, this is one of the Home Depots I do enjoy going to. They just have quite a bit of plants, and you can see there is a diversity of all of these succulent plants here. These are succulent arrangements, and I really like the look of that. This one is not a bad price at all. And for anybody who enjoys just succulents, please leave some comments in the comments section. I'd really like to learn a little bit more. But you can see these Vigoro hanging baskets for $19.98. The plants are actually fairly healthy looking, so that's not a bad price at all. I think that that's actually giving you some good value. And then we're gonna walk over here and take a look at some more of the other plants, and I'll just pan over and show you. Home Depot is a great place to get some beautiful large specimens of alocasia. Like, take a look at this alocasia, Regal Shields. Such a beautiful plant. It is an alocasia though that I do think gets a little bit more spider mite prone when grown indoors. Now, if you're gonna grow this plant, and this is only for $29.98, I would suggest growing that outdoors if possible, just because I feel like a lot of these alocasias, they just do better with the ambient humidity that we get from the outdoors. But you can see right here, lots of Regal Shield alocasias. Beautiful plant. I like the purple undersides of the leaves and that really extreme veining it has. So we're gonna go ahead, plant these, and keep walking to see what other plants they have. I mean, for the most part, I've seen that Home Depot still has quite a bit of plants available to purchase. It is definitely more full than the Walmart outdoor sections that I've been to. So we're gonna just continue to see what they have here. It looks like they've got some of these plants on sale. And so I'll just pan over and show you what plants they have available. It looks like they've got some succulent arrangement as well. So we'll see what kind of plants that they still have available for the summertime. You can see different types of succulents. This is some type of euphorbia right over here. So plant foldies, if you made it this far, again, please hit that like button, leave some comments, let me know what you think so far of the plants that we're looking at this Home Depot. I love the Rodeo oyster plant, that beautiful pink variegation. And then this looks like it has, this one is only for $39.98 for this succulent arrangement. Look at this really cool variegated crown of thorns, just a small variety here. That's actually a really good bargain, considering that a variegated crown of thorns for just a little bit bigger of a price would be like $20. So it's really interesting how sometimes these succulent arrangements will have some rare or uncommon types of succulents or cactus. We're going to take a look and see if there's anything else interesting here. I do like that the pink Rodeo oyster plant is right in the middle of that. I didn't realize that it is more so a succulent type plant. When you touch the texture of the leaves, it definitely has that that texture about it. But we'll keep walking over here. You can see that there are still lots of plants. I'm actually happy to see that they have a lot of plants still available at Home Depot. Over here, we're looking at some canna lilies. And then again, with canna lilies are plants that require full sun in order for them to really thrive. And you can see that they have the darker foliage leaves, and we have some more of the just green tones. They have different varieties of colors for the blooms, and that's another plant I saw a lot in the Philippines. And you can see right over here, we've got some Ixora plants. Now this was a flowering shrub that is also very much more so a tropical shrub. This plant is actually absolutely stunning when it is actually blooming. I saw a bunch of these also when I was on my trip to the Philippines. Now these ones are for $21.98. Now with all of these flowering shrubs that are tropical, you will definitely need to grow them in containers, depending on your grow zone. For my grow zone, you definitely would need to put them in a container because you'll have to overwinter them or bring them inside somewhere that they're protected from the frost or just the cool weather and the cool temperatures. But you can see we still have a lot of mixed planters. So, you know, it is summer. It is still a place where you can grow a lot of your plants. I would suggest, especially for house plants or tropical plants, especially philodendron, if you have a patio that gets like really good morning sun and protection from that late afternoon sun, you can actually get your plants to grow quite a bit. I've noticed that philodendron and just tropical plants, when you're putting them in a shaded environment outdoors, they're less pest prone, and then they also just grow at a more vigorous rate. So that's what I've been doing. So if you ever have a plant, like for instance, my syngonias haven't been doing well, I've literally cut them back down to the base, and that's just one way of rehabilitating the plants. They just kind of get to start over, but to really jumpstart that, you want to go ahead and just put them outside. So that's what I'm currently doing with some of the plants. I want to try to save and see if I can actually salvage them. But, you know, that remains to be seen. Plant foldies, I never really say that I am a professional when it comes to plants. I definitely don't have a perfect plant collection. You know, a lot of my plants, I choose them because they bring me joy. So whether it's just the plant care that I invest in, or just anything that sparks my interest, whether it's the propagation potential or the color of the plant. A lot of my plants, I don't necessarily collect because they're a rare plant or they're a variegated plant. Like, mind you, I do like variegated plants, but there's some plants that I just really enjoy, like aglaonemas, for instance. I just love the color of aglaonemas, and you know, for the most part, people will think aglaonemas are a basic plant. So there are reasons as to why we actually grow plants, and I'm just curious to see in the comment section like what plants you like, if they're common plants, rare plants, what you know draws you to them. Because as I pick up all of these plants, for instance, you know, I just showed you the vinca flower. I'm also showing you lantana. I love lantanas, for instance, not because they're an inexpensive plant, but just even the easy care plant. They are a plant that grows very well for me in my landscape. I mean, when you think about it, 100+ degree weather in Texas, this is a drought tolerant plant. It loves full sun. My backyard doesn't have a lot of shade, and they are such a vigorous grower as well. So, you know, lantanas, for instance, they interest me. I want to grow them because of those features of that particular plant. Now, you know, I'm looking at a lot of these canna lily plants, and while I do think that they are an interesting plant, there's something about that plant that doesn't really interest me in adding them to my collection. I don't know if it's just the way the plant looks, but it's not something that I'm like running over to, you know, buy plants for like canna lilies to add into my plant collection. Now this one is $36.98, and it does have some really interesting blooms, but like there's certain plants that I do gravitate to. So it would be like pothos plants, syngoniums, for instance, aglaonema. Those are the plants that I'm really invested in, as well as like philodendron. I didn't realize philodendrons were super easy to grow. And you can see right here, this is a Rodeo oyster plant. That's another plant I like. You know, you can grow that as a ground cover, as an annual, but you can also grow that as an indoor house plant, and that's what I intend to do. Currently mine is growing outdoors. You can see right here, this is a Cape Plumbago plant. I really like that light blue, almost like lavender color. And then this is a plant fertilizer I use. I actually use a shake and feed. What I do is I actually mix a couple of the granules in my potting mix, so that way the plants are consistently being fed. And that's the thing I haven't really gotten into, is just plant fertilization. How often do you do it? What type of nutrients you do to really promote that growth? And over here is a Spiderwort Purple Queen for $8.98. Surprisingly, I didn't realize that this was considered a perennial. And plant foldies, if you don't know the term perennial, it basically means it's a plant that will grow in a certain grow zone. It will grow through a growing cycle, whether it's spring, summer, fall, and potentially die in the winter, but then come back next year. So it's a plant that you don't have to replant year after year. Now there's an annual plant literally just grows one growing season, and you'll have to replant it. But you can see right here, lantana, for instance, this is another plant that interests me because not only is it easy care, drought tolerant, full sun loving, it is also a perennial. So while it produces those beautiful blooms with such little plant care, it is a plant that you don't have to break the buck on in terms of having to replant it year after year, because it is a perennial. So I know a lot of you plant foldies are looking at the indoor tropical plants, and don't trust and believe I will go back to that. But I do like talking about gardening, because I feel feel like plants, especially after visiting the Philippines, most plants really are meant to grow outdoors. And so looking at these landscape plants, these garden plants at a big box store like Home Depot, super excited to see, as you can see here, that this Home Depot is still fairly stocked. Like, this is a plant, variegated ginger, that I have attempted to grow indoors. I love the variegation. I mean, look at how beautiful this plant is. I feel like it is an underrated plant. This plant, when grown in the landscape, is a perennial. I've tried to grow this indoors, but what I've noticed about this particular plant is when you grow them indoors, and this is only for $19.98, that's a pretty big size plant actually, is that it is very much spider mite prone when you bring that indoors. So that is a problem, and I really think it's because it's just not getting the natural environment, so the plant's health is a little bit more compromised. I do notice that with a variegated ginger plant, when you put it in an environment that has high humidity, it absolutely thrives. It is a plant that grows pretty fast as well, and with such beautiful variegation, this is a plant that does prefer a lot more light. So if you provide it with more light, it definitely will give you some better coloration. You know, there's certain plants, variegation is either influenced by the initial genetics of the plant, so no matter how much light you give it, it will always just push out whatever genetics it has. Or you have plants like that where it's influenced by the amount of light. One plant that is a very quick reverter if you don't give it a lot of light would be like a Yesenia Pothos plant. I don't know if you've ever carried one of those, or a chameleon ZZ plant. Those will revert to green if you don't give it enough light. Now over here is another plant product I use. This is a Miracle Grow liquid plant food. What I use this for is for some of my hydroponics. I just put a little trace element of that. It has a very small dosage of nutrients, so it can't really burn the roots. And then plant foldies, I'm going to show you this. So what I like about Home Depot, at least in the Texas area, is they have a Texas series of plants that are native, or at least can tolerate the climate of Texas. And then you can see right here, this one right here is one of my favorite flowering shrubs. This is a Chinese fringe shrub, and I love the dark purple leaves it has. This one is for $14.98. The only problem is with this particular shrub is during the winter, if you get a really cold winter, it doesn't bounce back well. Mine actually ended up dying, so it really made me sad because they had some really good structure to their shape. And then you can see those dark foliage plants are those crepe myrtles. We're just going to look at some of these shrubs as well. This is the lone variegated oleander that I wanted to buy, and I may end up just buying because look at how beautiful the variegation is. This is a twist of pink oleander. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. Again, with oleander, it is an extremely toxic, poisonous plant. You'd never want to ingest any of the leaves. You want to keep your pets away from it. You want to have children away from it. If you cut it for some reason, you don't want the sap on your hands because it is highly toxic and can really cause some skin irritation. You definitely don't want to ingest an oleander, but this one right here can take full sun, and it has beautiful variegation, and I am obsessed with it. You know, variegated plants, you know, I have a soft spot for it. I do appreciate the green, just green plants, but sometimes that variegation, like look at that. That is all variegated right there, and it is just such a beautiful plant. It's a plant that I definitely should have added into my collection. And the only thing is, you know, if you, for instance, plant foldies, buy a plant or don't buy a plant, just know if it was located in a big box store, whether it's next year or a couple weeks away, they will always restock it. And so that urgency to have to buy that plant right then and there, sometimes you have to just reframe your mind in thinking that it's going to be restocked. I have regretted buying certain plants or not buying certain plants because I did not see it get restocked. But in many cases, especially when it comes to a big box store, they will get restocked. But this is the last twist of pink oleander. If you were in my position, would you buy the plant? Plant foldies, leave that in the comments. Let me know. Again, I really love comments. I think that is one way you can really show your appreciation for the efforts I put in the video, as well as just being able to connect with me. As you can tell, plant foldies, I love to talk about plants. I have been talking about plants for more than half a year now, and for some reason, plant foldies, you guys are continuing to come back to my videos. I really appreciate that. I also love the fact that there's always a plant party. You know, I see a lot of these regulars, you know, Kathy, we always look for you. Kathy is one of my original plant foldies from Canada. Tree, you're always in all of my plant shopping videos. Thank you so much. And, you know, if anybody were to ask me why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds, originally it was an ASMR origami paper crane channel where I was basically folding origami paper cranes daily. A little fun fact about me is I have been folding paper cranes for a good 7 years now in the hopes of being able to fold 1 million paper cranes. There is this legend where if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, you will be granted a wish. I really just find it therapeutic to just fold paper cranes. So that's the reason why I started YouTube, is just to have like an outlet where I can share that. So if you haven't scrolled down my really old videos, I literally have hundreds of videos, tutorials of how to, you know, fold an origami paper crane. I hope my plant foldies will not only love, you know, plants with me, but also take the hobby of possibly learning how to fold an origami paper crane. So if you can, if you watch this video, if you're bored, if you're curious, please go scroll my really old videos. I have playlists that show how to fold an origami paper crane. I think it would really solidify being a certified plant foldie. That's the reason why I say plant foldie. That's being able to fold origami paper crane. So definitely check that out. But anyways, to come back off of that tangent, I did show you a bunch of those plumeria plants. Love plumerias. They need full sun. They love tropical weather. They can get to sizes of 20 feet in tropical countries like the Philippines. Mandevilla flowers as well. They do very well in a tropical climate. The more full sun they get, the more blooms. And you can see all of these plants that I am panning over are a lot of the tropical plants. These are plants that if you're going to grow them in a landscape in my grow zone, at least 8B North Dallas, they will only grow one growing cycle. They will not survive the winter. You will have to replant them. Desert rose, I love that. And for desert rose this size, look at the codex right over here, $29.98. I was looking for some white ones. Now what I'm interested in doing is finding variegated desert rose at PlantCon. So if you're going to ask me what wish list plants I'm looking for at PlantCon, I'm looking for a variegated Monstera mint, a variegated Philodendron gloriosum, a variegated desert rose, some cool looking Hoyas, and maybe some other interesting plants, some aglaonemas. So that's kind of like my wish list plant list for PlantCon. We'll see if I can find some really cost effective pricing. And I did want to shout out one of my favorite plant shopping shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a small business called Pita's Planters. Plant foldies, I'm thinking for our plant foldie meetup, I think we should use that as a centralized area to meet up at Pita's Planters. Pita's Planters will have a booth. So Pita, if you're watching this video, let me know if that is a good place for us to meet up. I definitely want us to get excited. I want us to support Pita's Planters because it is one of these small businesses that have really been kind to me, and they have amazing plants. I'm glad that they are doing PlantCon. So plant foldies, just know that Pita's Planters will probably be our centralized area to meet up. I know that there's several of you guys already flying in to go to PlantCon. If you want to join PlantCon, I would highly recommend it. I would love to meet all of you guys. We can take some pictures together. Although I will ask, if we do take pictures, if you're going to post it on social media, just don't reveal my face and let them know who really Grow Folds is. That would just be my only caution if you guys want to do that. But super excited to interact with you guys because as you can see, I take you guys along with me to do these plant shopping videos. And you can just see sometimes looking at plants and just walking around vicariously through my camera lens is all I need to do. Sometimes it's just really relaxing for me, and really this is just very therapeutic to do a voiceover and kind of just talk to you guys. I hope that you guys never feel like you're lonely. I hope that plant foldies, we find a community where if you're having a bad day, if you tune in and just relax to the videos, let's do it. I think it's awesome, and I think it's another way to just really bring out the best in each other, having that that community. And then you can see here, this is a crassula or a jade plant. One of the most easy to care for succulent plants. They have so many different varieties. Now this is just the crassula ovata, which is basically the basic one. that I grew up growing. My grandmother, who I've said in all my videos is really my source of inspiration and who has gotten me into plants. She's the master of plant care. And when you think about it, she's from the Philippines. So like some of the plant care tips we do don't really apply to how she grew up, because you just grow plants outdoors. Over here is one of the most stunning looking agave plants. Like look at that right over here. Now what's cool about agave is it is like a succulent plant, but it is also cold tolerant. So you can grow something beautiful like this, at least in North Dallas, my grow zone, which is 8B, in the ground, in the landscape, and it'll do okay. Can we talk about how this is such an interesting looking cactus right over here? Now this cactus also is quite interesting in the fact that it's fuzzy. It just has a really unique texture about it. It's just kind of unusual. And that's the thing I like about cactus. This is only for $26.96. This is a prickly pear snow. I do have a prickly pear cactus growing on the side of my house. It is in the landscape. It is low, cold tolerant. So maybe the snow cactus might actually work for me as well. And this one is an interesting aloe vera velociraptor. That one's for $9.98. This is really interesting, and I've said this in all of my videos, but I didn't even realize that aloe vera come in so many different varieties. I always think of aloe vera as that one regular one that you'll see as like a medicinal type aloe vera, but clearly there's more. And then over here, this is an opuntia plant, but for most opuntia, I don't think they're as nearly as prickly as that one. And then all of these other plants, like this is our go-to classic golden barrel cactus for $9.98. I think about some of my plant foldies that really enjoy cactus. I know some people that's not your thing, cactus and succulents. Truthfully, I like to go give you guys a diverse variety of different types of plants to look at, because I feel like sometimes having exposure to certain plants will get you interested. Like I talked about my love for coleus plants. Most people would oversee coleus plants and think it's like a basic plant. It's a plant that you just grow in a little patio container, but it can actually be a legitimate, very rewarding house plant. And so I was really excited to have been able to influence some of the plant foldies to grow that. But you can see here, now this is a plant that is quite interesting. These grafted cactus. So you can see that the bright red cactus right there is actually grafted on. I've never been into it, so like I don't know if it can actually get larger, if the red part would actually get larger. So plant foldies, if you know anything about this particular cactus, like look at how bright that yellow grafted cactus is. Super awesome. I love the fact that they have the red, yellow, and orange, so all of those bright colors. It's a really nice one. Again, I think for cactus and succulents, the best type of weather would be a weather kind of like California off the coast. I've noticed that succulents and cactus can grow in landscapes year round. They can get extremely large. They're extremely beautiful. One of my favorite types of succulents is called an Aeonium. They have these like starburst looking, rosette looking shapes, and it's really cool. I'm not a fan of this, and if you can tell why, this is basically somebody might have painted or spray painted the cactus. I don't really find that all attractive, but guys, plant foldies, this is so cool. Variegated string of hearts. Oh my gosh, I see. That's when you know I got excited. Look at this. This is only for $5.98 in a 4.5, 5-inch planter. That is a really good price. This is some really good variegation. And if you don't know anything about the variegated string of hearts, number one, variegated string of hearts does need quite a bright indirect light. Number two, it is a vigorous grower for a trailing string of something. So like you can see here, there's already a lot of strings. Typically that'll like tangle up. It is also another plant that's easy to propagate. What you'll do is just cut like a string off, twist it around the top of a soil and just mist it, and it will propagate itself. I have 2 hanging baskets. One hanging basket is growing in my kitchen right next to the window. It gets east facing light, and it's been doing very well. And then I have another one outside that is doing okay, but I don't think it really likes the really hot weather of Texas. But I ended up finding something similar to that. Now, when you give variegated string of hearts a lot of bright light, like if you literally grow it under a grow light for 24 hours straight, it will sun stress. And For those that don't know what sun stress means, it means that the variegation will change to where you'll get some reds, you'll get some pinks, you'll get some red outlining, some dark outlining. It's just that the plant has received a little bit more light than it's used to. It's not necessarily burning it, it's just giving it a little bit more stressors. It happens a lot to Hoyas, but succulents, it's another plant that if you sun stress it, you'll get some beautiful pinks. But what a nice plant find. I'm super excited to find some variegated string of hearts. I may come back and buy a variegated string of hearts because they're very easy. And again, they fit my plant care, which is being more negligent when it comes to watering my plants. I am what you call an underwaterer. And so that plant will work out for me. I'm thinking I might buy it and probably bring it to work. I have a couple of plants that I've taken to work. So I'm actually interested, plant foldies. Have you ever like inundated or just filled up your home to where you're finding other places to take your plants? I have started to take some plants to work. I think that extra greenery kind of helps with my mental health and just keeping me calm and balanced and grounded. And it's just fun. But you can see here, this is another succulent plant right here. I know that I've been showing you guys a lot of succulents, but for some reason during the summertime, or at least when we're downsizing on plants, succulents are always going to be available year round. Like this is a really cool echeveria right over here. Look at that. It looks like the pink is like neon glowing. You know, plants that are used to, you will see year round would be succulents and phalaenopsis orchids. Literally, you can go to a grocery store and you will find a phalaenopsis orchid. Most recently, I found a variegated phalaenopsis orchid at Kroger, which I thought was really cool. But plant foldies, we're gonna walk over here and check out some of the plants that they have here. This is what most people are more interested in, and it's the tropical, intertropical plants. So we're gonna take a look at what plants they have available here. I do like showing you this. Like for instance, this one is for $19.98, and this is a Calathea lancifolia, beautiful common Calathea. But what I will tell you about Calatheas, and I say this in all my videos, they are the biggest heartbreakers. They show you this beautiful foliage. They show you how they are just lush and full, but give it 2 weeks. If you don't give them the right watering, the right humidity, they will either be infested with spider mites or just die somehow. They're also fussy in terms of that you want to keep their soil moist, and that's just a plant that hasn't really worked out for me. Now, I thought I found a plant hack with Calatheas. Like I literally will take a Calathea like this. This is a Calathea medallion for $10.98. Remove all the soil and try to grow it hydroponically, which is basically growing it in water with some plant nutrients. It's still got spider mites, and you would think, how do you get spider mites when you have ambient humidity with the water? It so happens it happens. And so for me, there's just certain plants that I can only like appreciate while they're still in a local nursery or a big box store. But in terms of taking them home, it's just not really something I want to get back into. There's just plants that I've learned that, you know, no matter how often we want to try to grow them, it's going to be difficult. Now this right here is an Aglaonema Silver Bay for $14.98. This is a Vigoro plant in a 6-inch planter. I will say you could probably find a little less expensive Aglaonema for that size, but you know, with that size Aglaonema, that could be an Aglaonema you can put on an office desktop. Aglaonemas again are low light tolerant. It doesn't mean that they will thrive, but you can grow them in lower light conditions. They won't have the best variegation though. Beautiful Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, and this is really what a golden pothos should look like. Notice how there's so much variegation on that. Really good specimen. That's also for $14.98 by Vigoro. And then you can see right here, these are Epipremnum aureum pothos for $9.98. It's on sale. They used to be $12. And you can see right here another 6-inch planter, a pothos, golden pothos plant. Beautiful pothos, actually. I love the variegation, and actually $9.98 for a 6-inch planter is a really good deal when it comes to pothos plants. I would recommend it. So if you're able to go to a big box store like Home Depot and they have it on sale, definitely buy it. It's a good starter plant. This one is another, I think this is a Marble Queen pothos. I do apologize because the lighting is a little bit different. You know, it's the twilight zone. I'm filming this around 8 o'clock at night, so the sun has pretty much set, but you can see I still have some decent lighting. And you can see right over here we've got another Calathea lancifolia. I did have this Calathea. All of my Calatheas I've had unfortunately have passed away and have gone to plant heaven, so that's just a plant, I'm sorry to say, will just not make it back to my collection. The only type of finicky plants I have left would be a Stromanthe Triostar and a variegated Marantha that I got from an amazing YouTuber. His name is Planting with Pete. He ended up sending me one of those, and I am growing that currently in a hydroponic situation, and it's doing okay. We do have some more plants that we are taking a look at. We've got these Hoya carnosas. I really like the look of Hoya carnosa. It is another easy to care for plant. But we'll see how that all goes right here. You know, with Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess, this one is only for $10.97. Not a bad price at all. Hoyas, again, are easy to care for plants. I can understand why people become Hoya heads. It's because you literally have a plant that has some really cool variegation, amazing blooms, a pretty vigorous grower, and they're easy to care for. Now, the secret to growing Hoyas would be, from what I've been told, is higher humidity levels, more bright light. It'll be super happy. That one right there is a Peperomia Rousseau. Peperomias in general are easy to take care of. I've noticed more of the obtusifolia type Peperomias are easier, but as I pan away here, you can see that this Home Depot sells quite a bit of plants. Super excited that they still do, because plants have to be admired year round. Like, would you agree? Plant foldies, leave that in the comments. And if you've made it this far and you still haven't hit that like button, please make sure you hit that like button. I have a lot of plant foldies that will get on the chat. Isaac, Luke, Kathy, all of you guys will continue to encourage people to hit the like button. I cannot tell you how much it helps my YouTube videos. So if anything, just for my efforts to produce these daily videos, please hit that like button. As you can see here, though, we do have some hydroponic plants. So these are plants that are just growing in water. This is the H2O series by Proven Winners. This one is a Syngonium champagne. Love the pink on it. And then this one right here is such a cute little plant. This is called a Thenanthe amagris, I think, or Burley Marxii Thenanthe. Really cool looking plant. Some people will also call this the Calathea fishbone. There's just so many different names for certain plants. It's either a Calathea or Thenanthe. They're calling it a Thenanthe. Either way, it's growing in hydroponics and it's actually super cute. And then, like I said, Phalaenopsis orchids. Whether you go to a big box store, a local plant nursery, or a grocery store. I will say grocery stores probably have the best orchids. You will see that year round, but you can see here lots of plants. And then this is a Pilea peperomoides, or a Chinese money plant. This one is also by Vigoro hanging baskets for $19.97. This is a plant that continues to produce little babies. So it's self-propagates. You can take the little babies, separate them, and create more. These plants can get massive as well. I'm looking for a variegated form, and you can see right here, we've got some Hoya carnosa Crimson Queens. I really like that. Either Crimson Queens, or is it a Hoya carnosa tricolor? Beautiful white cream variegation. Again, this is another Hoya that I have in a hanging basket. It's doing fairly well for me. It does get better variegation with more light. And then this one here is a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Gotta love the Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Like, take a look at that for $19.98. Super exciting to see that they have these hanging baskets year round. You can never have enough of Philodendron Hederaceum. I will say they're not as hardy or as forgiving as an Epipremnum aureum or a Pothos plant, like you can see here. Jade Pothos plant, super fast growing, very vigorous, $19.98 in a hanging basket, again by Vigoro. So Pothos, if I haven't influenced you to buy a Pothos, please try to buy a Pothos plant. Give it a chance. It's an awesome plant. I know that some of you guys might have some really cool variegated plants, some aeroids, but try a Pothos plant. It will bring you joy. Over here is another plant that for some reason, a lot of people like. This one's for $15.98, and this is what you call a cast iron plant. I'm not really sure what the allure is for this particular plant, but that is a plant that a lot of people seem to like. They say that it is a little bit more uncommon to find. And then right over here, we've got a Dracaena colorama. This one is for $19.98. This one has some browning on the leaves, but you know, if you have a perfect specimen, when the light hits it, it looks like it's on fire. Beautiful, full, and lush Epipremnum aureum golden pothos for $19.98. Again, it looks like this this Home Depot has actually gotten a good restock of some of their pothos plants. I don't always see pothos plants being this lush and full. Really exciting to see that. And you know, I have a lot of propagations of water propagations of golden pothos that I really do need to just pot up. There's just a lot of propagations I do in water in general that just need to be pot up. I just have been lazy, so I need to do that perhaps this weekend. You know, my birthday is on August 7th, which is next Wednesday. So I am taking the day off to just kind of recalibrate, really enjoy my birthday. I turned 42. Super excited about that. I'm just happy that I am healthy. I've been able to accomplish a lot this year, and I've been able to just meet a bunch of you guys plant foldies via virtual. So hopefully for PlantCon we can all meet up. But yes, I'm excited to actually celebrate my birthday this weekend. I am off from work. I'll be going out with some plant foldy friends, and we're just gonna have a good time getting some sushi. That's one of my favorite types of foods, and Dallas has a lot of them. But you can see lots of common but easy to care for plants. I picked up a golden pothos, another Aglaonema Silver Bay. Those are all for $14.98 by Vigoro Plants. And you can just see as I turn around here, now this is an interesting plant. When you touch the leaves, it's large, but it's also fuzzy almost. I'm not sure what this plant is. We can take a look at the plant ID, and it also has a really interesting bloom. So I would assume this is number one, another tropical plant that probably cannot grow in the landscape. So let's take a look at what this plant's name is. This is a curcuma plant for $34.98. I haven't actually ever seen a curcuma plant. What an interesting plant. Clearly it has that tropical vibe about it. It almost gives me like a peace lily spathiphyllum look on the leaves, but the leaves actually feel fuzzy when you touch it. What a lush and full plant. That actually brings me a lot of joy. I love seeing plants like this. Really cool looking plant. Love the blooms. Just love everything about it. I just don't think I could grow this indoors though. Plant foldies, let me know if you think I would be able to grow that indoors. I just think it would just need more light and humidity. And then you can see right here, what a cool ficus plant. This is a ficus chandelier for $29.98 by Proven Winners. So the thing I appreciate about ficus plants is when they're grown in their natural habitats, they become full-blown trees. Like if you haven't seen my Philippines plant videos, there is going to be a playlist. I have 5 of them now. I would also like for you guys just to see how plants grow in their natural environment. Like even bromeliads were used as almost like a ground cover in the Philippines. Beautiful bromeliads, but it's just really interesting how that all pans out when it comes down to the natural habit. So over here, so I think for $29.98, these are some large Calathea medallions, and I was already juked to buying one of these a little earlier this year. They had some Calathea macuyanas. Unfortunately, mine died. It just didn't do well, but look at how perfect these look, and look at how large these Calatheas are. I just wish Calatheas would not be such a finicky plant. I just really think it's a plant that has been hybridized, has been popularized by so many people, but at the end of the day, they really need to just be grown outside in a tropical, humid environment for them to really thrive. Now, plant foldies, let me know if there's anybody who has successfully grown Calatheas long term and has a collection. I'd really like to know. I'm actually curious to see if there's any YouTubers or plant influencers that grow Calathea exclusively. That would be an interesting topic to kind of discuss. So let me know what you think. And then obviously this is a Monstera deliciosa. Gotta love Monstera deliciosas. Common plant now. It used to be the it plant about 3 to 4 years ago. I'm just glad it's more readily available. It is another plant that I have propagated multiple times. And then I'm gonna go back here and show you these Alocasia regal shields. So I did have to tell you, my battery ended up dying that evening when I was actually plant shopping and filming, but I wanted to make sure I had enough content to provide. So this is me coming back early morning to the same Home Depot, so you can see the lighting is a little bit different. This is a Arabian jasmine for $29.99. This is also the national flower of my home country, the Philippines. We call it sampaguita. This is also the jasmine flower that's used in jasmine tea. So if you drink jasmine tea, the fragrant flowers, that's what they infuse it with. But it's cool that they have this. And what's even better is I didn't realize that this was a perennial in my grow zone. That's always the reason why I always thought, hey, my grandmother actually grows them in her garden in North Houston, and they come back year after year. I never really paid attention to that. I thought she would just replant them, but it's so happens that they're perennial. So that's cool. And then I did want to show you this right over here, plant foldies. This is super cool to see that they also have some more desert rose. This one is also for $29.98. Plant foldies, let me know if that is a good price for this large desert rose here. I think they're really pretty plants. I've seen desert rose before in bonsai form. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of desert rose I would find at the plant con. I am just getting super excited about going to plant con, plant foldies. Like, you guys cannot even imagine how excited I am. I have already produced some, plant foldy t-shirts that I'm hoping to distribute and sell as well at plant con. So we'll see if how that goes. I will be receiving that PlantCon, those t-shirts by August 12th. So if you're interested in getting a t-shirt that I can bring to you if you're going to PlantCon, let me know. I have some limited sizing, but I do have 4 different colors that you can choose from. But you can see here though, plant foldies, beautiful desert rose. This one is in bloom. I actually like the color of that desert rose. So plant foldies, let me know what you think. Do you grow desert rose? This one looks super healthy as well. I will say with desert rose, they definitely do better being more on the drier side. If you overwater them, their caudex, or what you would call their trunk, will rot very easily. But it is a beautiful morning. I'm gonna go inside again and check out what plants that they have that I wasn't able to really look at. But you can see here some ornamental peppers. Now these peppers are definitely not meant to be eaten. They're really more of ornamental peppers, which brings me to it. I never showed you guys my purple ornamental peppers. It was like purple and lavender variegation on the leaves. Absolutely stunning. That's another plant I definitely want to try to grow indoors if can be. So we're going to see what that looks like. But as you can see, look at how beautiful the morning is at this Home Depot. And, whether you shop early morning, you can see there's not as many people, or late afternoon, evening. That's really the best times for me to shop and actually film, because number one, whenever I'm doing plant shopping videos, I never want to try to get anybody in the film, just to respect people's privacy. And number two, I just don't want to be hassled to have to try to avoid people shopping. Sometimes people might feel a little bit awkward having somebody filming. So there is a little bit of caution when I do my plant shopping videos. There is a lot of effort that I have to put in, but I do that for our plant foldies, because if you're watching this video right now, for instance, that means you care enough to really care about what I want to tell you, what content I'm presenting. And then you can see here, this is a neon creeping Jenny. So one thing that's interesting about a lot of these proven winter plants, or just these ground cover plants, is they can be grown as a quote indoor house plant, because they have that trailing trailing growth pattern, which makes them very good candidates to be put in a hanging basket. That's where we get a lot of the hanging baskets. You can see here we have some Asiatic jasmine, and I bought this because I really love this. This is a variegated form of an Asiatic jasmine. This is an Asiatic jasmine tricolor, and notice how it does get some sun stressing. This one is for $5.98. It's a pretty fast grower. I love the variegation. This is another plant that I am growing in a 6-inch container in the hopes of possibly bringing indoors when it gets cold. I haven't done enough research to see if it's another plant that can survive my grow zone, which is 8B, but beautiful plant. Sometimes I like to go out of the norm of what people want to grow as indoor plants. So you'll hear me talk about coleus plants, and then you'll also hear me talk about these ground cover plants. So plant foldies, what do you think about this plant? It's so beautiful, isn't it? Or at least I think it is. Just that variegation, and then the trailing habit it has for its growth pattern. And right next to it, we have just a green variety of an Asiatic jasmine. This one is for $3.98. And over here we have some Japanese holly fern for $6.98. Really interesting plant. I don't know a lot about it. I don't have fern in my current collection. Now, if I am gonna, actually add fern into my collection, the 2 fern I would add would be a bird's nest fern, and maybe the Boston fern. We'll see about that. And then over here we have a Hedera helix, or the correct way to say it is Hedera helix or English ivy. This is for $3.98. You know, with Hedera helix, it is creeping its way back. Plant foldies, you already know y'all like to count that. Now, for those that are watching this video for the first time, please do not be scared of the Hedera helix. It's just a plant foldy inside joke. I am thinking about doing a Hedera helix t-shirt, so we'll see about that. But you can see here another Asiatic jasmine for $7.98. You can see how much it's trailing. Look at that. That's a pretty cool looking plant. Now, I would just need to do research on whether it needs a lot of sun or just light, because if it does, then it would not be a good plant to grow indoors. You know, most plants that are more low light tolerant are better suited for indoors, or at least can be grown indoors, versus a plant that needs a lot of light. Interesting fern here. This is an autumn fern for $9.98. And what's interesting is the new growth comes out this bronze tone, and then it just greens up as it hardens its leaves. So I think that that is interesting. That's probably why they call it the autumn fern. And then we're just going to spin around here and take a look at some more of the other plants they have available. You can see there's quite a bit of succulents and cactus right here. You can see there's just many varieties. I'm just curious if anybody just has a cactus or succulent collection. I can see the allure of these plants just because they do have so many varieties and so many interesting textures. Like this one is a cold hardy porcupine cactus for $29.98. But my thing is, if you were to go put this porcupine cactus, how would you plant it? Because it's just very prickly. So I've seen people use tongs to actually carry it, or some really thick gloves. I just wouldn't want to get pricked by them. And then you can see these are some more fire sticks. Fire sticks are very common to see, but what a beautiful looking succulent type cactus plant. I don't know if it actually blooms. I would assume it is. A lot of these succulents and cactus will end up blooming, but you can see Home Depot and a lot of big box stores will actually have this. They'll have a lot of succulent arrangements. That's something really common for people to do, is make succulent arrangements. I think that's super cool. And then you can see right here, they do have some Altman Reserve type succulents and cactus. This one right here is for $19.98. This looks almost like a crown of thorns euphorbia type deal. And then we also have this right here. This is a Christmas sleigh aloe vera, which is really cool as well. I like that a lot. Look at that red outlining it has as well. And then they have this one really caught my eye. I'm gonna try not to get myself pricked because it's super prickly. We're gonna probably have to move some stuff around, but this is another variegated agave. I may just need to move some things around to be able to see that, but you can see they also have all of these cactus right here, and the fuzzy cactus ones look like a bunch of spider webs. It just kind of gives that Halloween vibe. And you know, it is a summer. It'll be August, September, October. 3 months from now, it's going to be Halloween. Then we'll be into the holidays, and then we're back the next year. It's so interesting that just this year has flown by. I'm really thankful though, because I have gotten a lot of traction when it comes to my YouTube channel about plants. And you know, I always ask my plant foldies, especially if you have social media, please share my YouTube channel on your social medias. I would really like to grow our community. Again, we are really close to 10,000 subscribers, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to check in on each other during the live premiere chats. You can see right here, these are called living stones or lithops. Interesting, very odd looking plant, but needless to say, you could probably have a bunch of these planted in a container and it would just be kind of an interesting plant. I will say that since it is one of those succulent plants, it is gonna need a lot of light. Now, I'm not sure if it wants to be out in full sun, but definitely lots of bright light. And then we have all of these cute little hanging containers of cactus right over here for a pretty good price. And then we have some more succulents right over here. cool looking succulent that I like. This is a Crusala lemon and lime. Love that variegation. And you know, the more light you give that particular succulent, the more variegation you'll get. But you can see in the morning how beautiful these succulent arrangements are. So we're gonna go back and take a look at some of these indoor tropical plants. Because my battery died, I wanted to make sure that I filmed any other plants that I may have missed. So we're just gonna pass by here and take a look at some more of the plants. Again, plant foldies, for those that have tuned in, thank you so much. Please make sure you're hitting that like button and leave as many comments as you like. I do respond to every single one of them. Over here is a Ficus elastica Chloe by Proven Winners. That one has more rounder leaves. That would be a you know, anything that's ficus needs a lot of light. And then this is another philodendron Rojo Congo that I just think is absolutely stunning. It is another plant that is very common, but needless to say, you know, that's an easy to care for plant. The reason why a plant is common is because it's readily available to reproduce and propagate. And you know, that's what I would say, plant foldies. Think about the plants that you're bringing into your plant collection. If it's easy to care for, you're going to get more joy out of it. And then over here, this is really interesting. For $22.98, we got a papaya tree. Now this long term would not be able to grow in my climate, but you know, you can put it in a pot. Really cool looking shape on the leaves. It's another plant that was just basically all over the Philippines, just growing out on the sides of the roads, and you can get some free papaya fruit there. And then we're gonna pass by a bunch of Boston fern, and then I did want to show you this because I love aglonemas, and then especially even this common looking one. This is an aglonema silver bay, again $24.98 or $29.98, somewhere around that range. And right next to it is another aglonema. This is white rain, and what I like about this aglonema is, if you notice, look at how white the stems are. Absolutely stunning aglonema. That is another plant that I think everybody should really be into as well. Just everybody try aglonemas is what I'm trying to say. Plant foldy, some people, it may not be for you, but trust and believe, it is such an easy to care for plant. It creates pups, so basically it'll push out more babies that you can separate from the mother plant. And you can see that there is a subtle difference with it. This silver bay one has green stems. The white rain one has more white stems. I love white stem aglonemas. The one country that has some really good aglonema hybrids would be Indonesia. And plant foldies, stay tuned to my Green Spaces ID plant review. I am importing some plants from Indonesia, so hopefully they will come to me soon in good shape. Over here are a bunch of China doll plants. This is a plant, unfortunately, as much as I love the texture, as much as I love the leaves, this is a plant I can't put in my plant collection because it is a plant that is very thirsty. Mine ended up just crisping up because I didn't water it as frequently as I needed to be. So that's just another plant that is just not going to be part of my plant collection. And then over here we have a Ficus lyrata. I think that's super cool as well. And then we you know, people say that that was an it plant. I still think it is. I just think that the more people may not be into plants. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of people got into plants, and then post-pandemic, it kind of weaned off, and so there was not as much interest. But I'm noticing that there is a new surge of people loving plants. I honestly think plants in general, it's a very cyclical cycle. Like it's sometimes we have that interest, and I can tell by just maybe even the engagement. You know, people ask me why I specify or really go into the niche of like big box store plant shopping. And that's very simple. It's because most people shop at a big box store, and that's probably their first initial exposure to plants. And that's the reason why, for me, not only do I want to provide a community where we can look at plants daily, but I also want to expose people who are new to plants, some of the plant care tips, some of my insights, and just to look at plants. Big box stores will always have plants, you know. Plant nurseries, local plant nurseries, shops like that, they're not always as accessible. Not everybody has some cool plant nurseries like Dallas. I am partial to Dallas because I feel like in general we do a really good job of just having some diverse plants available. So, you know, we'll see what that all looks like in the long run, but for now, I'm just really enjoying these big box store plant shopping videos. I think it's a really good deal to be able to show you guys that. And you can see here even all of these Hoyas and peperomias and sansevierias. They're everywhere. But Plant foldies, what do you guys think about today's installment? You know, I have taken a little bit more time to film a little bit more content. I love this Rodeo oyster plant, just all of the arrangement and just being able to go during early morning to see. So if you like this video, please make sure you're hitting that like button. It does help out a lot. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed my installment today. I will have another brand new plant shopping video of Big Box Store tomorrow. As always, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on. I will have many brand new videos. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.